Welcome to BaseModel, the world's most powerful private behavioral foundation model. It leverages your raw data, creates features automatically, and learns to predict behavior, then fine-tunes it to particular use cases and procedures. Replacing separate models, it supercharges your data science team, vastly reducing time to value. Now it is available as a native Snowflake application. In this video, I'll show you how to train your first foundation model, use it for a specific business scenario, and get predictions in just a few steps. First, go to the Models section and click Create Model. Setting it up is straightforward. Point it to the data, optionally narrow down the scope to a particular list of entities, and schedule the run. But everything starts with data. Behavioral models need behavioral data. So our first data source will be transactions storing customer purchases. First, we need to name the data source. We name it transactions. Then we continue with next steps. We first need to tell the base model where to find the data. Identify the table as event source, then tell it which columns to use, and then identify two important columns, the event timestamp and the main entity identifier. In our case, it is the customer. We will now add new data source called customers that will tell BaseModel more about our main prediction entity. Again, we need to specify its location. We add columns and specify identifier, which in this case is customer ID. We can also enable attributes of other entities such as products, stores, and services. Add a new source, add the location, define it as an attribute, and add the columns. You can mark all columns and also exclude the ones you don't need. Next thing we want to achieve is to connect product table with the transactions. Unlike the main entity, we need to explicitly tell BaseModel how to join the events with attribute tables. So, from the event data source, click Joins, add one, specify tables and columns, and we're ready for the next step. Name your models clearly so you and your colleagues can distinguish them later. Click Apply so BaseModel can validate the selected data. At this stage, we can define on which audience we want to build the foundation model, although it may be applicable for some scenarios. This time, we'll skip this step as it is fully optional. Let's go to Schedule Session and define one-time training. Of course, we can do it continuously, once a day for example, but for this purpose, we want to do it one time. We define it to start immediately. Click Apply so BaseModel can validate the selected data. Now we can run our model. The application will build hypergraphs, create features, perform multi-epoch deep learning training, adjust parameters, and validate to select the best model, all automatically. With our foundation model in place, we are ready to apply it to a business scenario and get predictions to support our decisions. Navigate to Scenarios and click Create Scenario. First, select the foundation model to fine-tune and then the type of scenario. Let's assume we are a retailer running a personalized promotional campaign. A multi-label classifier allocating favorite brand to each customer will be optimal. Define the target function, telling the model what we want to predict. While this may seem a daunting task, these functions are built around just a few constant patterns. Copy one of the recipes available on docs.basemodel.ai. Let's pick the multi-class classification recipe for favorite category and paste it into the target function text box. All we have to do now is to adapt the names of target products, columns, and data sources to the schema used to train the foundation model. We can now click Apply. This will not merely submit our function. BaseModel will now validate our function's correctness, which may take up to several dozen seconds. Once our function is validated, we can proceed to setting the training schedule, scoring schedule, and define the location to save the scores. For example, we can set the training to start immediately, skip the step for audience selection, and then schedule the predictions to be generated on a particular date. This way, we will define the time we will generate prediction for all our customers. The last thing we need is to create or select a table to store our predictions. Once that is done, we should give a name to our scenario and then run it. For ready scenarios, you can review their performance scores and monitor scoring runs by opening the scenario and clicking on Metrics. Now you are ready to apply your scores to your hyper-personalized promotional campaigns.